Okay, today we're going to be talking about median and mode. So this is just another way to find the measure of a center of data. So yesterday we talked about mean, which is the average. Today we're going to talk about median and mode. So median, I like to think of median as middle. So whenever I see median, I think of middle, so I always want to find what's in the middle of the data. So the first thing you're going to do when you're finding the median is you're going to order the data from least to greatest. So down here, our data was 5, 8, 9, 12, and 14. So if you guys notice, those are ordered from least to greatest. And then there are an odd number of values there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 data values, which is odd. So when you have an odd amount of data values, you can automatically go to the middle, find the even middle, and that is your median, right? Because on the left side, there's 2 data values, and on the right side, there's 2 data values. So 9 is our even middle. And remember, median equals middle, so our median for this example is 9. If we have an even number of values, so in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, you still, if you notice, want to order them from least to greatest. But in this case, our even middle, we have 2 numbers here. Our even middle, we have 5 and 7. So when you have 2 numbers in the middle, you then have to find the mean of those 2 data values. So to find the mean of those, you do, just like we did yesterday, add the 2 up. So we have 5 plus 7. Divide how many data values there are, which in the middle, there's only 2, 5 and 7. And so when you do 5 plus 7 divided by 2, you get 6. And so then the median for this entire data set is 6. Okay, so whenever you're finding the median of an odd amount of data numbers, you just find the even middle. When there's an even number, you find the 2 in the middle and then find the mean or the average of those 2 numbers. And we'll do a couple practice problems to work those out. The mode, I like to say the mode is the most. So the mode, it can have one mode, you can have more than one, but basically it is what appears the most. So again, you're going to order them from least to greatest. So down here we have 11, 13, 15, 15, 18, 21, 24, and 24. And you don't have to order them from least to greatest. I just like to in this case because I think it's easier to see. And here we have 2 15s and 2 24s. Those appear the most amount of times. And so you have 2 modes. You have 15 and 24 as a mode. So mode is just which numbers appear the most, and median is what is in the middle. All right, so let's practice this out. So in example 1, it says we want to find the median and the mode of these bowling scores. So first, let's find the median. So remember, to find the median, we need to order these numbers from least to greatest. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So my least number, if I'm seeing this right, is 90. I'm going to cross them out as I go. So I have 90, and then my next one would be 105. Then I have 120, 125, 135, 145. I have 2 160s. Running out of room here. I have 175 and then 205. Okay? So, how many data values do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I am not going to have an even middle, so I'm going to have to find the mean. So I'm going to go ahead and find the 2 middle numbers. So I kind of like to cross them off as I go. So my 2 even, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. So my 2 middles is going to be 135 and 145. And again, since I don't have that even middle, I need to find that mean or the average of those 2 numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 135 plus 145 divided by 2. Okay? So I have 135 plus 145 divided by 2. So my median is 140. My median is 140. All right, let's find our mode. So our mode, I'm going to keep this same list. I'm going to go through here and see, do I see any numbers multiple amount of times here? And if you can see, I have two 160s, which is the most a number occurs is twice. I just wrote most instead of mode. So my most, or my mode, is 160. So that's my median and my mode for that data set. Okay? So our next problem in example 2, it says to find the mode of the favorite type of movies. So since I have a bunch of different types, I'm going to list them all out to make it easier for myself. So I have comedy is one, horror is one, action, drama, and I think those are all I have. Yep, just for action, comedy, drama, and horror. So I'm going to count how many I have for each one. So for comedy, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 comedy. Horror, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Action, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And drama, I have 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually I missed a drama. There's one right in the middle, so I have 4 drama. So I have 8, 5, 4, and 7. So I want to see what my most is right there. So which one appears the most, which is obviously this 870. So my mode in this case is comedy. My mode is comedy. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about today is how to figure out which measure of the center is the best option to pick. So in this example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different tennis shoes, and they all have different prices. So if you can see here, we have one is $31, one's $20, 122, 48, 37, 20, 65, and 45. So we are going to find the mean, median, and mode for those sneakers, and we're going to decide which measure of the center best represents that data. So first, let's just start off with our mean. So our mean, again, we want to add up all of our data values and then divide by how many there are. So we have 20 plus 31 plus 122 plus 48 plus 37 plus 20 plus 45 plus 65. And then we're going to divide all that by how many we have, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tennis shoes. All right, so let's find what our mean is. So we have 20 plus 31 plus 122 plus 48 plus 37 plus 20 plus 45 plus 65, and that equals 388. And then we're going to divide that by how many data values we have, which is 8. So our mean here is 48.5. 48.5. So just looking at that mean right there, I can already tell that that is not going to be the best representation of our data, because 48.5 is larger than most of our data here. Because 48.5, it's bigger than the 20, it's bigger than the 30, it's bigger than the 48, the 37, 20, 45. So the only one it's smaller than are these two, the $122 and the $65. So I would say this is not the best representation of the price of the shoes, because this would actually be more expensive than most of the shoes on this left-hand side. let's go ahead and try our median next, just to see if that would be a better representation. So for median, remember, I need to order them from least to greatest. So I have two 20s. I have a 31, a 37, a 45, a 48, a 65, and a 122. Now again, because there's an even amount of shoes here, we're not going to have an even center. So I'm going to go ahead and find my two numbers that are in the middle, which is going to be 37 and 45, because if you can see, there's 3 numbers on the left side and 3 on the right. And then remember, if I have my median and I have 2 in the middle, I'm going to have to find the mean of these 2. So I'm going to have to say 37 plus 45 divided by 2. So if we have 37 plus 45 divided by 2 is 41. So my median is 41 here. And this to me looks like a better representation of the data, right? It's a little bit bigger than a few of them, but it still includes that 48, 37. It looks a little bit better in the middle than that mean. It's not too much greater than all of the shoes right here. But let's just try the mode to see if the mode is a better representation of our data. So mode, I'm just going to look up here at the ones I've listed out and see which number is represented the most, which is this 20. So my mode here is 20. And that is not a good representation of my data either, because if I go over here and I look at these shoes, 20 is a lot less than most of the data that is represented here. Like if you think about that shoe that's $122, that 20 is way too low. So that's not a good representation to say, you know, if you go to the store, what you're going to pay is $20. That's not the best comparison. So I would say the median is our best representation of our shoe price. So the median is the best representation running out of room a little bit there, representation of the shoe price. And again, this is because our mean was a little bit too big. It was really only close to about 2 of the prices, and then our mode was way too low. So that mean is a good sweet spot of a good representation of what our data would actually be.